I didn't even notice. Did anybody see? Are we recording yet? I've got distracted. Yes, we are recording. Excellent. So it's been recorded now, and then I'm just we'll go over to my screen in a minute. I'll get the split screen, if I can speak, up here, and you'll see actually what we're moving on to today is quite simple. We're just going to be revising averages, all of which you would have seen in the first form. We did this actually before the setting test, so it's quite easy stuff, so it'll make it quite a straightforward lesson. So what I'd like you to do, either now if you can write quite quickly, or when you play the video back later, I want you just to copy out that title and to remind you what. So we've got the mean average. That's the one that we use most often. Most often that's what people think of when we talk about averages, and that's the meanest one to work out. So how do you do that? That's the one when you add up all the numbers and then divide by the number of numbers. So that's the mean average. Then the median average, that's the middle one when you put them all in order. Okay, and then the mode average, that's the one which just crops up most often. So all we're going to be doing in today's lesson is just practicing working out the mean, the median, and the mode. And as I said earlier on, it is a revision lesson. We've done this before, but we haven't done it for well over a year. Okay, so what you've got here, so ignore the numbers at the bottom. That's just giving me the opportunity to fiddle around with the numbers. I want you to copy out those 5 numbers at the top, so the 4, 3, 3, 8, and the 2, and I want you to go and work out the mean, the median, and the mode, please. Okay, so if you go and do that now, I'm still going to be here, but I'll give you a minute or two to try and do that, please. Okay, and while you're doing that, I'm just going to take my keyboard off, so the screen might move around for a minute and it might get a bit noisy. Okay, somebody's got the mic on. They could switch that off, that would be good. I'm not going to start doing them yet. I'm just getting myself ready. So remember, the mean is the one when you add them all up and divide by the number of numbers. The median is the middle one, but only once you've got them in numerical order from smallest to biggest. And the mode is the number that crops up most often. Okay, so I'll give you about another 20 seconds or so. Okay, so the mean is what we get when we add them all together and divide by the number of numbers. So adding them all up, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, we've got 20. So 20 divided by the number of numbers which are there. And obviously we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On this occasion, that happens to work out as in a whole number. It doesn't have to be. It's absolutely fine if the mean is a decimal. Okay? So that's the mean. Now the median one, just be careful. Make sure you put them in order first. So putting these in order, we've got 2, 3, 3, 4, and 8. So our middle one is the second of the 3's. So the median is 3. And the mode is which number crops up most often. Clearly the 3 crops up twice, so the mode is 3. You could, on occasions, have more than one mode. Say we'd had the 4 cropping up twice and the 3 cropping up twice, we'd just say the mode is both 3 and 4. So you wouldn't average those two, you just say it's both of them. So that's all well and good when we've got when we've got an odd number of numbers, because it's easy to spot the middle one. But what about when we've got an even number of numbers? So the next slide is not one we're going to do now, but if you want to have more practice, you can come back and do the next slide when the video uploads. And just while we're on the subject, just to remind you, this video will automatically upload onto your Teams posts page in about 10 minutes after the lesson is after the videos stop recording. Okay, so just wait 10 minutes and it will be there and you can go back and listen to it again. Okay, I'm also uploading them onto YouTube because I'm not sure yet how well people necessarily access Teams, so I just want there to be the YouTube option as well, but that takes me a bit longer to do. Okay, so that's the one we're going to save for later. So if you want to practice that question, you're very welcome to do so when we once the video is finished. Okay, let's just see what the answers would have been. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 25. So 25 divided by 5, the mean would have been 5. Okay, the middle one would be the 4. Even when you move those around, the middle one would be 4, so the median would be 4. And the mode would be 8, because the 8 is cropping up twice. Okay, so this is the one I want you to practice now, which is a bit trickier because we've got 6 numbers there. So please, I'm going to give you a bit of time for this one. So can you please go and work out the mean, median, and mode for these 6 numbers? Okay, so I'll give you a bit of time for this one. So we're going to answer this in about 30 seconds. If you're finding it a bit frustrating that I'm going quite quickly, don't worry. You can just do these questions at your own pace once the video's uploaded. I'm just quite keen to keep the videos quite short because otherwise it's quite boring if you finish while you're waiting for all the lulls in the video, and also it just makes it a very big file to upload, which takes ages. So I'll just give you about another 30 seconds.
Sir, you muted yourself.
Sir, you've muted yourself.
Anyway, I think it's unmuted now. So can you all hear me now? Can somebody just confirm you can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
When did you last stop?
When you started talking about mean, we stopped hearing you
Okay.
then.
Okay, thank you. I think somebody else, just be careful. I did notice it flash up in the corner saying that I'd been muted, but I didn't do it myself. So just be careful that you're not accidentally muting me, because it sounds like that might mute me for all of you. Anyway, we'll quickly recap what we've done. I think you can probably see from the screen. For the mean, we added up all the numbers to 35, divided by the number which was 6, and we got this decimal. Decimals are fine. I will just go over the median bit again, because that was the key learning point. Because we've got the 6 numbers here, we've got 2 numbers in the middle, and you then have to work out the mean average of those 2, or halfway between the 2. So mathematically, we've just done 4 add 8, which is 12, and we've halved it to get 6. But I expect lots of you can just see that 6 is halfway between 4 and 8. Now, the mode, what number crops up most often? Well, you'll see we've got 2 modes here, because both the 3 and the 8 crops up twice. So the mode is 3, whoops, that should be a 3. The mode is 3 and 8. Okay, 3 and 8. What you mustn't do is muddle up the median and the mode and think you start working out the average of the 3 and the 8. You don't. The mode is both 3 and 8, full stop. You just leave it like that. Whereas with the median, you did go and find the halfway point with the 2 numbers in the middle. Okay, so moving on. Now, just a little challenge for you here. I'm just going to give you a couple of minutes to think about this. Probably the best way to try and do it is trial and error. But what value must x be here such that when you work out the mean and you work out the median and you work out the mode, you get the same number? Okay, so what must x be that the mean, median and mode are all a number? Okay, again, it's not crucial, but I can hear one of your keyboards tapping, so I think one of you has unmuted. So I mean, you're being nice and quiet, so don't worry about it, but if you think you've accidentally unmuted yourself, just mute yourself now. That would be great. So I'm just going to give you a bit of time to think about it. What do you think x must be that when we've worked out that number, the mean, the median and the mode are all the same number? Okay, now I don't mind as long as you're not all going to do it at once. Does anybody want to try and hazard a guess? So if one of you wants to unmute, and if you think you know the answer, that would be fine. If you don't want to, I'll give you a few more seconds and then I'll tell you. This isn't crucial.
What we're doing, I only just joined.
Say that again?
I don't know what we're doing because I only just joined.
Well, never mind. Is that you, Henry?
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. Hi, Henry. Don't worry about it, Henry. What will happen? And then it will then upload. The recording will upload onto the Teams posts page. That bit where you can just type away and say hello to each other and stuff. So the video will be there. You just need to play the video back. So all I need you to do now, Henry, is just sort of mute your mic so you're not sort of getting any noise onto the video.
All right.
Okay, so just to answer this question, that missing number must be 5. because once it's 5, if you start working them all out, let's see what we get. So when we're working out the mean, we're going to add all those numbers together. 8 and 3 is 11, 11 and 5 is 16, add 4 is 20, add the 5, we get 25. So you do 25 divided by the 5 numbers, and you'd work out that the mean was 5. You go and put them in order, you get 3, 4, 5, 5, and 8. So 5 is also the median. And then finally, 5 is also the mode, because the 5 crops up twice. Now, our final slide is a puzzle for you, okay? Now, the images you probably won't, well, I say our final slide, our second last slide. You won't probably recognise many of the people in it. It's quite an old slide. You probably recognise one of them. And I can't remember if we did this last year, those of you I taught in first form. But I want you to try and figure out what's going on. The only clue I'm going to give you is if you look right back to the beginning, there are 3 different averages. So that's your clue. So have a think about what's going on with this slide here. And you're welcome, if you think you've got an answer, to unmute and tell me if you think when you figured it out. So basically, we've got this guy down here on the left, who's the old England manager, saying, I bet you £10 the next person who walks through that door has more than the average number of legs. And then this person over on the right, he says, I don't believe you, you're wrong. So basically, who is right? If we just imagine somebody coming through the door behind you in a minute, are they going to have more than the average number of legs, or are they going to not have more than the average number of legs? So if you've got a thought on that, feel free to unmute and let us know what you think. So somebody's just walking through the door in a minute. Have they got the average number of legs, or have they not got the average number of legs? Who's right, the guy on the left or the guy on the right, or could they both be right? Anyone got a thought? Okay. Let's have a think about it. Let's just have a think about lots and lots of people in, say, Gloucester. Okay, you went out and you went and did, you noted how many people, how many legs people had. First person goes by, they've got 2 legs, and the second 2 legs, and the third 2 legs. And let's face it, the very vast majority of people out there are going to have 2 legs. But you will come across somebody who unfortunately has only got 1 leg or 0 legs. So you might have something right at the beginning which is not a 2. Clearly nobody's going to have 3 legs. Okay, so think about the averages. Think about working out the 3 types of average. If you had that information there, we've got a single 1 and we've got lots of 2s. So think about the 3 averages. What would we get? So we've got the mean, the median, and the modes to think about. Now, for now, is going to be a 2. Clearly, the most number of legs will be 2, because the 2's cropping up loads of places. What about the mean? If you added up all of those legs and divided by the number of numbers, because this one at the beginning isn't a 2, you're actually going to get a mean which is like 1.999 or something. It's just going to be slightly below 2, because you would only get a mean of 2 if everybody had 2 legs. So back to the question. This guy on the left said, I bet you the next person through the door had more than the average number of legs. Well, he's right if you're talking about the mean average, but he's not right if you're talking about the median and the mode. Right, one slide to go. Okay, so four pupils work out their mean average test result to be 8. Okay, so 4 pupils work out the mean average test result to be 8. What would the 5th pupil have to score for the mean average of all 5 pupils to be 10? Okay, so we've got 4 pupils have got 8. What is that 5th person going to have to be scoring so that when you average, you're going to get 10? So have a think about that. Again, it's not easy, all right? But I just want you to have. Come on, whoever's doing that, stop it, please. So I'm just going to give you a bit of time to think about it. Think about how you're going to work out the average when there are 5 people there. Think about how you're going to work out the mean average. What must this number here be so that when you go and work out the mean average, you actually get a mean average of 10? So have a think. If anybody thinks they know what the answer is or they've worked it out, do feel free to unmute and let us know what you think. And I'm just going to give everybody a little bit of thinking space. So I've worked out what the answer is. So if anybody thinks they know, you're very welcome just to unmute and call out what you think the answer is. All right, so you're welcome to let us know what you think the answer is. If not, no big deal. If you can't work it out, I'll do it on the screen in about a minute's time.
So would it be 18 because you times you add all of the 8s together, which gives you 32, and then you'd add 18, which would make 50, and if you divide that by 5, you'd get 10.
You star. Well done, Isabel. Well done. That's exactly right. Okay. So well done. I can't explain it any better than Isabel did, but I'll just put it in writing. So what Isabel is saying is that if you... Can whoever keeps doing that, can they stop, please? If you add up these 4 marks here, we get 32. Now, if we're going to have a mean average of 10, that means when we add all of these numbers up, all of them, or 5 of them, and we divide by the number of numbers, which will be 5, we've got to get 10. So working backwards, what number divided by 5 gives us 10? And that's 50. So if all 5 of these numbers add up to 50, then 50 divided by 5 is 10. Our mean average will be 10. So what Isabel's correctly said is you take your 50, you take away 32, and that number would have to be 18. Because 8 add 8 add 8 add 8 add 18 is 50, and 50 divided by 5 is 10. Now, that's really the main part of the lesson over because we were revising averages. But I would quite like us just to remind ourselves of that other thing that we looked at the same time we did averages, which was called the range. Okay. Now, if you remember, the range is just the biggest number take away the smallest number. So dead easy to work out. All right. So on any of these things we've done, so the range on this question would just be 18 take away 8, which is 10. So it's dead easy to work out. The range on this question, say here, would be 9 take away 3, which is 6. So it's easy to work out, but what I want you to start thinking about is just getting a feel about what it tells us. So I want you to imagine that you're a cricket captain and you're trying to choose which of these batsmen you're going to have in your team. Okay? Now, so just make a little note of these scores that these 2 batsmen have got in their last 4 innings. All right? Batsman 1 got 98, then he got 2, then he got 95, then he got 5. Okay? Whereas batsman number 2 got 55, 45, 51, and 49. So what I would like you to do, please, and this is the final thing we're going to do in this lesson. I'd like you to work out the mean average for both of these batsmen. I'd like you to work out the range, and then I'd like you to work out which of those batsmen would you choose to be in your team and why. Okay, so we won't have any interruptions for now. If we can just keep it that you actually work out these 4 numbers here, and then once we've agreed on the numbers, I'll open up the mic for you guys to be saying which one would you choose and why. So last one of the lesson, the lesson's been going 30 minutes, so I think about another 5 minutes will be about right. So so work those out, and then we'll have a bit of a discussion about which one you would choose and why. Okay, 20 more seconds, guys.
I finished.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so I hope you've worked out that the mean average for both the batsmen was identical. They're both good players. They both average 50. And for any of you who play cricket, you'll know that if you average 50 runs, your mean average is 50. You're a pretty good player. Now, the range for batsman number 1 is 96, and the range for batsman number 2 is 10. Okay. How did I get the 96? I did 98 take away 2 is 96. Biggest take away smallest. And for batsman number 2, 55 take away 45 is 10. So, who would like to go and say who they would choose and why? So if you're going to say, just unmute your mic, just say who you are and then give me your reason.
Seb.
Go on, Seb. Who would you choose and why?
I'd pick.
Can't hear you, Seb. I just heard you say I'd pick.
Yeah. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
I'd pick batsman 2 because then I could help him out. I feel sorry for him.
Why do you feel sorry for him?
Because he got a low score.
So who do you think's the better batsman? Batsman 1 or batsman 2?
Batsman 1.
Okay, that's your view, Seb. That's great. Seb, you go and mute yours again. Anyone else want to? I'm not saying who's right or who's wrong. Anyone else want to volunteer something?
Henry.
Go on, Henry. Who do you choose and why?
I choose batsman number 2 because he's more predictable, and also batsman number 1's feeling sad because he got 2 off.
Yeah. Okay, I like what you said there, Henry. Batsman number 2 is more predictable. So basically, that's it, Henry. Neither of you are wrong. Okay, if you switch your mic off now, Henry, that'd be good. Basically, batsman number 2, like Henry said, is more predictable. The word I was really looking for, but that's just as good. He's more consistent. Okay, he's more consistent. Right, you can rely on him to get a good middle score. Okay, batsman number 1 on his day is brilliant, but on a bad day he's pretty rubbish. So really, there's no right or wrong. Any cricket team is going to want to have a few batsmen who are like batsman number 1 and a few batsmen who are like number 2. So you might have somebody at the top of the innings, like a Jason Roy in 2020, or somebody who's a bit of a slogger, and on his day he can win you the match, but he might quite often be out. On the other hand, you're going to want to have a few sort of people like batsmen too, someone like a Joe Root, who's pretty solid and steady, never really going to let you down, but equally he's not going to be a match winner. So the point here is the mean is really an indicator of how good you are. If you finish your career and you've got an average of 50, you're blooming good. If you finish your career and you've got an average of 10, you're not. The range is really a measure of consistency. So well done, Henry, but you weren't wrong either. So that's it for today, guys. So please don't start unmuting your mics or sort of popping your cameras back on until you know that I've finished recording. Clearly, if once the recording stops, I'm going to leave the chat. Okay, if you want to chat to each other, that's fine. But please do remember, this is a school site, so other teachers could be listening in. We could be being supervised, so don't do anything silly. All right. So I can't remember if we've got a lesson tomorrow or not. I don't think we do. So well done, guys. Have a super Easter break, and I'll see you after the holidays. Or I might not see you straight after the holidays, but we'll be back in touch remotely. So cheers, guys. I'm still here. I'm still just trying to get the microphone up on the thing. So don't start talking yet. There we go. Stop recording. Let's just wait for it to stop. Right, so it still hasn't stopped. Right there, I've got the